All right, you guys. All you guys in Internet Land, we're having a lesson in class today, and I'm recording it for you so you don't get behind. First thing that you need to have in front of you is a Peloponnesian War timeline. It's got 12 boxes on it. The very first blank you're going to fill out is the war timeline dates, which is right here. The Peloponnesian Wars were from 431 BC to 404 BC. Now, basically, the Peloponnesian Wars were started because the Delian League treasury was moved from the island of Delos to where? Athens. Athens took control of it. So it made them extremely wealthy. And then Athens started using all those resources for themselves. And the growth of the power worried not only Sparta, but a lot of other city-states. But Sparta was the one who declared war on them. They took action. So because they wanted to try to stop the Athenians from growing so powerful that no other city-states had any type of power. So Sparta declares war on them. All right, so get your dates up there, and then we're going to go to the first box. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do the first left-hand top box first. Here we go. In 431, Sparta is somewhat jealous, but they also become very distrustful of Athens. Okay, so you're going to write that in your box right now. So they declared war on Athens because Athens had moved all that money from the Delian League, from the island of Delos, to their treasury in Athens. And Athens' power was getting stronger and stronger and stronger because of that. So Sparta does it. Sparta declares war to try to stop Athens from growing so powerful. The war between Athens and Sparta, it could have threatened tearing all of Greece apart. Some people might say it did, some people might have said it didn't, but it did put that threat out there. So in 431 BC, what Sparta does is they march their army north to Athens because we know that Sparta battled on what? Land. And where did Athens battle? Water. So they march their army to Athens and they surround the city and they wait for the Athenians to come out and fight. But the Athenians didn't come out and fight because they had plenty of food inside their city to sustain them. So the Spartans had to pull off a very clever and conniving way to get Sparta, or to get Athens to come out and fight. So Athens is inside the city, right? And they're living their own life. The Spartans are trying to get them to come out and fight. They won't because they've got the resources inside the city they need. So what do you do if you want to get them out? Do you know, Logan?
Burning arrows in.
Okay, you shoot burning arrows in.
You starve them.
You starve them.
Blockade them from getting any supplies into the city.
Block them from getting any supplies into the city.
What is it? No.
Any ideas?
Kill them.
Kill them.
Make them,
All right, so they won't come out to fight. So Sparta, some of you are pretty close to on the edge of what Sparta does first. They won't come out to fight. They know they're getting supplies, and they have supplies inside their city that they need to survive. Where are they getting those supplies? From other city-states. So what does Sparta do? Sparta goes and sets all their fields on fire. What does that do to their crops? Kills them. So now that food supply coming in from outside is what? It's gone. So the Spartans destroy, let me find it here, Spartans begin to burn their crops in the fields around Athens in hopes that Athens would run out of food and they would be forced to surrender. But Athens does something. Do you know what they did?
Maritime trade.
Maritime trade. There you go. But instead, the Spartans were in for a surprise because the Athenian navy escorted merchant ships to Athens, which brought plenty of food. So they start bringing their food in from the maritime trade, from the sea, to supply the people inside the cities with food. So now do they need those crops that were growing out there?
No.
No, they do not. But there's a little something that happens when they start bringing those ships in. They brought something else in. Do you know?
The plague.
The plague. All right, so they bring in plenty of food to the city, and the navy also starts to attack Sparta's allies. Okay, so they're bringing in food from the navy, from the sea. Athens turns around and starts attacking Sparta's allies. Okay, if you're an ally with someone, what are you responsible to do?
Help them.
Help them. So they have to send some of Sparta's troops to those allies to help them because they're friends with them. They are fighting together. So some of Sparta's troops has to go help them. Does that limit the number of troops you have now around Athens?
Yes.
Yes, and that was Athens' whole scheme. That attack somebody else that is a ally of Sparta, and then Sparta will be forced to go help them. That eliminates them from all being here at Athens. Okay? So, the navy attacks Sparta's allies, forcing the Spartans to send troops to defeat other Greek city-states. One of those city-states that you're going to see was called Corinth. All right, let's move to the next box down here. Sparta declares war after a conflict over Corinth. Okay, here's the problem with Corinth. Let me let you get that written and tell you this. Okay, so let me explain to you about Corinth, because we have Corinth here and we've not talked about Corinth. Corinth was an ally of Sparta. Okay? So they allied with Sparta. But they switched sides and started forming an alliance with Athens. So what do you think that's going to do to the Spartan army?
Make them weaker.
It's not going to make them weaker. It's going to make them what?
Outnumbered.
Well, not necessarily outnumbered. It's going to make them mad to the point that they go do what?
Attack Corinth.
Yeah, that they attack Corinth. So we have here that Sparta declares war after a conflict with Corinth. The conflict was you were our ally, and now you've switched sides with Athens, the people that are that are the enemies with us. There's a real problem there when you have an ally that flip-flops on you, right? So they get into a conflict with Corinth. Okay, so what does that cause? That causes your first war to last for 10 years. Okay, Sparta's fighting on land. Athens has the seas bringing the food in. We know that Athens usually always fights on water. There's always naval battles. So we've got our first war that lasts 10 years. Neither side could gain an advantage. So eventually they call a truce. Athens keeps its powerful empire. Sparta goes back home because nobody can win, which makes sense because you've got the Spartans burning their fields for food. They're sneaking food in through the navy, and then Athens goes and attacks their allies, Sparta's allies. Sparta has to go help the allies. They can't get anywhere in this 10 years, so they call a truce. Athens continues to function the way it was. Sparta goes home. Okay? So we've got in this next box, Athens begins to protect, well, it didn't begin, it did, protect its ports with walls, and it starts protecting its ports with the navy. Now, we told you a minute ago, Lincoln said it when I asked this question. I said when they were bringing the food in on the ships, they brought something else. What was it?
Plague.
The plague. Okay, so the plague gets into the city-state. Their leader, Pericles, and you know this from your guided notes that you did, Pericles dies of the bubonic plague. Okay, it kills thousands of people. Okay, so we've got allies switching sides, we've got a truce being drawn, we've got the plague coming in, we've got ports and walls and cities being built and protected by the navy of Athens. So they just call a truce, go home. Do you think that truce is going to last?
No.
No, it is not.
They're going to be like, this is Sparta. And they're going to kill them. Miss Wills, why did you say plague?
Did I say plague?
Yeah. It says
Oh, I misspelled it. Yeah, it's a typo. Plague should be Plague. Leave off that extra E. All right, now, moving on to the next box. In 415 BC, we have our second war. Okay? After 6 years of peace with Athens, we have our next war. So in 415, Athens again tries to expand its empire. Okay, you've got Athens with its allies. You've got Sparta with their allies. Athens sends its army and a navy to conquer the land of Sicily. It failed. They were destroyed when they attacked Sicily.
Wait, who was?
Athens. The Athenian army was defeated by the Sicilian allies. That is important because Sicily was an ally with Sparta. Okay, so Athens is going and sending their military to attack Sicily. Sicily is an ally of Sparta.
Didn't Rome take over Sicily?
Eventually. Rome took over a lot eventually. Okay, hang on. All right, so Sicily defeats their navy. Okay, they defeat their army. The army was defeated by the Sicilian allies of Sparta, and they took them prisoner. And then the Sicilians destroyed almost all of the Athenian navy. So when they went and declared war on them, when Athens did that, that was a huge mistake on their part, right? Because what happened to their navy? They got destroyed. Their army got destroyed. Their men got killed. So Sparta sees this now as an opportunity because Athens is now weaker. Why are they weaker? Sicily just destroyed half of their army and navy and their men. So Sparta goes, you made a big mistake, Athens, when you went and tried to defeat our ally Sicily. Now you are weak and we are coming back after you. Okay? So Athens' weakness means Sparta attacks Athens. And war starts up again. All right, so let's go to our next box. Breaks in time of peace, wars reignite between Sparta and Athens. Remember, we had that time of peace, 6 years of peace with Athens. Athens makes the huge mistake of going and attacking Sicily. They get just destroyed. The peacetime is over because Sicily is an ally of Sparta. It is on like Donkey Kong again, right? And Sparta goes in and attacks because they see that Athens is weak. So war between Athens and Sparta starts back up. All right. This time Sparta knows what's going on and they cut the food supply to Athens off completely. Oh, they do. All right, in 410 to 406, Sparta asked, oh, sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Look who they asked for help. Persia. They asked Persia for help. So, they cut off the food supply, and then they asked Persia to come in and help. Who thinks Persia's going to say yes?
Me.
Who thinks Persia's going to say no?
Me.
Who is not real sure what Persia's going to say? Is Persia going to do it for free?
No.
No, they are not.
They traded colonies.
But the whole reason that they went to the Persian War to begin with was because Persia attacked Greece because they wanted more land. Guess what Sparta's going to give them? Land. Sparta sold land to the Persians for gold. They took that gold and in turn built their navy.
This was in our guided note.
It sure was. Okay? So they take the gold and they get a navy built. And they give Persia some of the land to help because that's what Persia wanted to begin with. So that's a pretty sneaky move, right?
Yeah.
It is militarily very smart, but it's very sneaky. All right. Sparta then in 405 completely defeats sorry about that right there, the Athenian navy. Okay, in 404 they completely cut off their supply of food. That's going to starve the people. Okay, they block the port city because that's where their food's coming in, is to that port city. They block it off. The Athenians can now not get food in, so they're dying of starvation. which would be a terrible way to die.
And
All right, so you've got people of Athens starving. You've got them surrounded. You've got them injured. You've got the plague still. Probably the plague lasted for years and years and years and years. I'm sure that it's still traces of it there. And if there's not, there's fear of you getting it, right? So you've got the plague. So what does Athens do? They surrender to Sparta. They did not have much of a choice this time because they lost their army to the Sicilians. They've got Sparta calling in the Persians. The Spartans have now got all this big army, navy control, ready to fight. They go in when Athens is at its weakest. They cut off the food. People start starving, surround the city. They don't have much of a choice, right? So Athens surrenders to Sparta, and Sparta becomes the most powerful city-state. Okay, as soon as you get that last box filled in, you're done with this. You guys in internet land, we're going to continue with the lesson tomorrow. See you, bye.